The second book is 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. By Trout. The first law is the law of leadership. It's better to be first than to be better. It is much easier to get into the mind first than to try to convince everyone later that your product is better than the one who has already done it. For example, most people know that the first person to fly alone to the Atlantic Ocean was Charles Lindbergh. Few people know the second pilot, but it was Bert Hinkler, and he did it at a higher speed and used less fuel. A few more examples. IBM was the first to release a mainframe computer, Microsystem was the first to create workstations, Vest released the first safety razor. They are all leaders, as their brand is becoming a household name. Xerox is the first machine for copying on plain paper, gave the name to all copiers on plain paper. And you can hear everywhere how clients ask to unseal the document. And the leaders are fixed in the minds of customers. If someone asks you about washing powder, then Tite will immediately come to mind, since he is the first among them. The second law is the law of category. If you can't be the first in a category, create a new category in which you can be the first. Surely you know the third person who crossed the ocean. Yes, it was Amelia and Earhart. So why is it that few people know the co-pilot, and the majority remembers the third? Yes, because she was the first woman to do it. Other examples can also be given. Dell entered the crowded computer market as the first company to sell computers over the phone. Les was not the first women's magazine, it was the first magazine for mature women. When you bring your product to the market, ask yourself the question, how much is my product better than the competition? In which category will this product be the first? The third law is the law of consciousness. It is better to be the first to enter consciousness than the first to enter the market. Not the first to appear on the market with its universal computer. Remington Rand was the first, but thanks to a massive marketing company, IBM was the first to enter consciousness and quickly won the computer battle. The more money you invest in a marketing company at the initial stages, the faster your company will become more popular. The fourth law is the law of perception. Marketing is not a battle of products, but a battle of perceptions. In Japan, Honda has entered the consciousness of consumers as a motorcycle manufacturer. And so if you tell your friends in Tokyo that you bought a Honda, they might ask, what model of motorcycle did you buy? In New York, on the contrary, they will ask what model of car did you buy? And so in Japan, most people won't buy cars from a motorcycle company. Also take the Harley-Davidson company. Will the cars of this company succeed? You may even believe that the reputation of the quality of motorcycles will play a positive role, but since this company is perceived by everyone as a motorcycle manufacturer, this will serve the car badly. The fifth law is the law of focus. The strongest concept in marketing is to own the word in the mind of a potential customer. You burn your way into consciousness, narrowing the focus to one word or one concept. The Federal Express Company managed to seize the words overnight, as it focused only on the delivery of parcels in the morning of the next day. IBM owns the word computer, so you can just say, we need an IBM machine. BMW is associated with the word driving, Volvo with safety, Pepsi-Cola with youth, and Rolton with noodles. The essence of marketing is to narrow the focus. You will become stronger when you narrow the boundaries of your business. For example, BMW and Mercedes sell only expensive goods and do not compete among the cheap ones, so these companies are associated with quality. The sixth law is the law of exclusivity. Two companies cannot own one word in the mind of a potential client. And you will most likely lose if you try to master the same word. In marketing, you can't leave your word and start searching among words that others own. So, Atari owned the word video game. The business wanted the name Atari to mean computer, but IBM and Apple already owned this word. And in the fight for this word, Atari lost, and the most ironic thing is that while Atari was fighting for a new word, Nintendo took over his word and now owns 7, 10, 5% of the multi-billion-dollar video game market, and Batara is not hearing anything now. Or Energizer batteries are trying to take away the word long playing from Duracell. And no matter how much effort is invested in it, they are unlikely to succeed, because Duracell was the first to enter consciousness. The seventh law is the law of stairs. The strategy you should use depends on which rung of the ladder you are standing on. For each category, there is a ladder of products in the mind, and on each step there is a brand name. For example, HEZ is in the first place for car rental, Avis is in the second, and National is in the third. Avis had the slogan "the best rented cars in the best agency." The consumer did not understand why Avis associates itself with the best in car rental, if this company is not on the top rung. Then the company determined its position on the ladder and made a slogan. Avis is only the second car rental company. Why did you come to us? We are the most diligent. The company has been losing money for 13 years, but when she admitted that she was in second place, she started earning a lot of money. Before launching any marketing company, ask yourself the following questions. At what stage we are in the minds of potential buyers, and make sure that your program is built taking into account what stage you are on. The eighth law is the law of duality. In a long-distance race, each market becomes a track for two. Over time, only two steps remain on the ladder. In the hamburger market, it's McDonald's and Burger King, in sneakers it's Nikes and Reeboks, and so on. At the moment, the leader's share is 45% of the market, and the number 2 brand has about 40%, the third, 3%. The rest are considered unstable. As Jack Welch, the legendary chairman and CEO of General Electric, said, only companies that occupy first and second place in the market can win in the global business arena. Those companies that fail to do this will be closed or sold. The ninth law is the law of the opposite. If you are aiming for second place, your strategy is determined by the leader. If you can't take the first place, get a firm foothold on the second. You should position yourself as an alternative, not try to surpass the leader. To do this, study the firm at the top, what it is strong in and how to turn this strength into weakness. You have to understand the essence of the leader and offer the potential buyer the exact opposite. For example, today Coca-Cola is aimed at older people, and Pepsi has focused on young people. Or take the second example. Listerine was on the first step of the mouthwash. Scope analyzed the competitor's weakness and found out that the taste of the Listerine liquid was unpleasant, and in order to clearly explain to a potential client what the competitor's weakness was, they wrote, "Use Listerine rinsing and you will understand that your mouth smells like a hospital." Scope is a mouthwash with a good taste that kills germs. The second one on the stairs cannot be modest. If you stop focusing on the first place, you become vulnerable not only to the leader, but also to everyone else crowding on the stairs. The 10th law. The law of division. Over time, the category divides and becomes two or more categories. For example, there were computers, mini-computers, laptops, workstations, personal computers. Each segment is a separate independent organism, each segment has its own reason to exist, and each segment has its own leader, who usually differs from the leader of the original category. IBM is the leader in large computers, DEC in mini-computers, SAN in workstations, and so on. The leader, in order to stay at the very top, must supply each emerging category with different trademarks. This is what General Motors did with its cars, Chevrolet, Pontiac, Buick, Cadillac. There is no need to link all categories with one company name, since each category can have its own slogan and word. The 11th law is the law of perspective. Marketing results become noticeable over time. For example, is alcohol a stimulant or a depressant? When you just start having fun, it is a stimulant, the next morning it is a depressant. Many marketing moves have the same effect. For example, answer the question, do sales expand the company's business or narrow it? It is obvious that short-term sales expand business, but we are seeing more and more evidence that sales narrow business over a long distance, teaching consumers not to buy goods at regular prices. There is no evidence that the issue of coupons entitling you to discounts increases sales. Many companies have realized that they need to quadruple the issue of coupons to keep sales at the same level. As soon as they stop releasing, sales drop. In other words, you issue coupons not in order to increase sales, but in order to keep them. Coupons are like a drug. Any kind of coupons, discounts and sales teaches the consumer to buy only when it is profitable for him. The 12th law is the law of product line expansion. Irresistible temptations push to expand the brand's sphere of influence. Over a long distance, in conditions of serious competition, the expansion of the product line will almost never be effective. Too much variety is repulsive. In 1978, when Savannah was a simple lemon Nicola, he owned 6% of the soft drinks market. The company then added a golden snap, cherry snap and matching diet versions of the drink. Today, the Sven-Nap market share is less than 2.5%. Take baby food. Gerber owns 72% of the market and is far ahead of Beech Nat and Hanes, two brands with an expanded product line. Today, if you want to succeed, you have to narrow your focus in order to take a position in the mind of a potential client. The 13th law is the law of sacrifice. You have to give up something in order to achieve something. 3 things that can be sacrificed are the product line, the target market and constant changes. The first thing, Federal Express abandoned all types of delivery and concentrated on one type of service, delivery of small parcels the next day. Thanks to this, today the Federal Express company is much more than the Emery company delivering parcels around the world. Thanks to this, she was able to put words into the minds of potential customers overnight. If you absolutely need the package to be delivered tomorrow, you contact Federal Express. The second thing, previously, a man and a woman were painted on a cigarette box, since everyone focused on both audiences. What did Philippe Maurice do? She narrowed the focus and focused it only on men. And then she narrowed the focus once again and directed it at the most courageous men, cowboys. The brand was named Marlboro. In the United States, Marlboros are the best-selling cigarettes among men and women. The purpose of Marlboro advertising is cowboys, but the market of this brand covers everyone. The third thing, the best way to keep a permanent position is not to change it. The White Castle Company has never changed its positions. She looks the same today as she did 60 years ago and still sells frozen cutlets at incredibly low prices. The 14th law is the law of attributes. For each attribute, there is an opposite, more effective attribute. For example, if McDonald's focuses on fast cooking and children, then Burger King should focus on slowness. Hot on fire correlates with slow and for the older generation. For example, the slogan could sound like this: grow to the taste of grilled Burger King burgers. The 15th law is the law of frankness. If you admit your negative sides, a potential client will respond to you with kindness. For example, in the previous examples, Evie's realized that she was the number 2 company in renting cars and made a marketing company out of it. When Joy's perfume hit the market, everyone accused them of being too expensive. The company did not refute this, but simply took the slogan "the most expensive perfume in the world" and won on it. The Listerine Company, which produced mouthwash with an unpleasant taste, took the slogan "the taste you hate twice a day." The company not only admitted that the taste of its product is terrible, it also admitted that people hate it. These confessions laid the foundation for the marketing idea "kills all germs." A potential client realized that something that tastes very much like a disinfection liquid should really kill germs. The crisis has passed thanks to a fair dose of frankness. The 16th law, the law of uniqueness. In every situation, there is only one step that can lead to real results. Most often, there is only one place where the competitor is vulnerable, and it is this place that should be the target of all the invaders' forces. For example, the Coca-Cola Company, knowing that Pepsi is aimed at the younger generation, could release a commercial that would say, "Okay, kids, we won't push you. When you are ready for the present, you will find it with us." This will be the beginning of the end of the Pepsi generation. The 17th law is the law of unpredictability. If you haven't written a marketing plan for your competitors, you can't predict the future. For example, Domino's Pizza Company, entering the market, sold pizza more expensive than the rest, and no one believed that someone would buy from them, and they were sure that the company would quickly go bankrupt. But she created a system to deliver pizza to the right place quickly and efficiently. Her long-term focus was to create a delivery system in the shortest possible time, and the company went uphill. The 18th law is the law of success. Success often leads to arrogance, about arrogance to failure. When a brand succeeds, the company begins to believe that the name is the main reason for the success of the brand. Therefore, she immediately starts looking for other products that could have the same name. But this is not the case. The brand becomes famous because you have made the right marketing steps. You were the first to enter consciousness, you narrowed the focus, you took possession of the right attribute. Another problem with success is that the director begins to spend more time at external events and he does not have time to develop promotion strategies. And as a result, he transfers marketing functions to his subordinates, and this is a very big mistake. The 19th law is the law of failure. Failures should not take you by surprise, they should be taken for granted. The Japanese are able to admit their mistakes in time and make the necessary changes. It's not that they don't make mistakes, it's that when they make them, they aren't punished for what they failed to do. They recognize these mistakes, remember and move in a different direction. There is no need to punish failures and mistakes, otherwise there will be no attempts to change anything. Risk often leads to failure. If the CEO has a high salary and he is not long before retirement, it is unlikely that he will decide on bold steps. The 20th law is the law of fraud. The situation is often the opposite of how it is described in the press. When things are going well, there is no need for a company to create myths. If you have to cover your activities widely, your business is bad. On television, no newspaper was discussed more actively than USA Today. The opening of the newspaper in 1982 was attended by the President of the United States. To this day, people are so impressed by the wide coverage of this publication that they can't believe that her today has failed. Don't believe everything the press tells you. The 21st law is the law of acceleration. Successful programs are not built on hobbies, they are built on trends. Infatuation is a short-term phenomenon that can make a profit, but does not exist long enough to bring a company long-term success. The only way to maintain long-term demand for your products is never to satisfy this demand completely. For example, to release one toy from the collection once a month. After all, when everyone becomes the owners of these toys, there will be no one else who would like to buy it. So focus on the long-term trend. The 22nd law is the law of resources. It is impossible to implement ideas without adequate funding. Your only real hope is to find a smaller company and convince it of the merits of your ideas. Remember, an idea without money is useless. Be prepared for the fact that you will have to sacrifice a lot for the sake of financing. Hi, if you liked it, and I know you liked it, put a like under this video, subscribe to the channel and leave in the comments the title of the book that you would like to listen to in 30 minutes. Thanks, bye.